Welcome everybody to another edition of TEW 2020 as we're continuing our MLW 2005 series we're continuing the road to King of Kings as it's now December for the end of 2005, so fun times with that. But it's time for the first show of the taping in the beautiful Philadelphia Armory in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, and we start with our basically opening as as Kevin Kelly puts over the fact that it's Fatu versus Averno in the first round of the King of Kings tonight. And puts over, there'll be 4 King of Kings matches, one each week, and then the 4 finalists will fight off in a four-way 30-minute Iron Man match at King of Kings. And the winner of that match will be determined to be the King of Kings. So basically, like the original ROH World Title match, way back in 2005 or 2006, where basically, it was a three-way where each pin was part of the Iron Man match, but like it's for a four-way instead. And also, I accidentally put this as like 5 minutes instead of 1 minute, so that's why I got the bad rating of a 38. Not the end of the world or anything, but still kind of dumb. Anyway, move on to the actual opening match of the show. As in about a detractor in the crowd, but subpar wrestling, Dynamite Daises, Vetter, Rigordy, and Reeves making his, I think, official in-ring debut on the TV show, as opposed to having a bunch of matches on the pre-show, defeat the Dropper to the Stars team of Chad Collier, Michael Modest, and MLW 2702 when Reeves pinned Michael Modest with a jackhammer. This gets a 39. Rigordy gets a 53. Vetter gets a 38. Reeves gets a 26, MLW 20 gets a 32, Michael Modest gets a 39, and Chad Collier gets a 41. Solid stuff, just like wild. Like basically, this is Reeves throwing around people, Vetter and Rigordy doing their tag team stuff, and even maybe some chair shots and table work to get like the crowd buzzed. Anyway, this gets a 39, solid win. And then there's a post-match promo where we have, Nikki Rocks and Reeves in the background, and Nikki Rocks hanging on like Reeves' better shoulders, Reeves looking like Reeves in the background, and they cut a promo, basically calling out the ICP, saying it's disgusting, and we're calling out the Insane Clown Posse. The crowd pops because it's a wrestling crowd in 2005. They say, Ray Gordy says, of course, you simple-minded, pathetic, brain-dead fans would cheer a bunch of morons who wouldn't know a note if it smacked them in the face like the Insane Clown Posse. That's what we're calling them out. Yes, we've got 3 men, but they need to find a partner, and if they can find a partner, we'll kick their ass from one side of this arena to the other, show them they don't belong to professional wrestling and they don't belong in music. And better, and Brady Wordy finished off saying, "You may not like it, but you're going to have to admit it. When we've got gold belts and gold records that were the hottest thing in professional wrestling and music today." This gets a 43, solid stuff as we move forward. To look at promo for Amazing Red, where he puts over the fact that, he has a title match with Morishima, but a lot of people are giving him no shot just because Morishima outweighs him by so much, which is why he's going to start by wrestling some bigger men, starting tonight when he gets in the ring against Samu. Samu is a legend, Sabu is a veteran, Sabu, outweighs him by 100 pounds, but he's going to start showing tonight that he deserves a title match, and he deserves not to be ignored. 54, decent promo, and basically after the promo, Steve Marino, because he's still our color commentator as he's injured again, can basically, put over the fact that, well, we'll see how well he does, and if he does well, Samu isn't Morishima. Then we have a quick backstage promo between Fatu putting over his tournament match with Verno. Fatu puts over, he's been successful all over the world, and yes, he's been a little distracted by his feud with his family member since he's got here in Major League Wrestling. But he's here to show he's here for more than just fighting against his family. He's here to become a champion. As this gets a 62. Oops. Hold on. Did I go past the match? Yes, I went past the match. I'm a moron. Gotta hate when I do this. Anyway, the Amazing Red versus Samu match, which goes about 6 minutes, and it's basically, Amazing Red underdog story, but Amazing Red hits a few hot moves and gets a pinfall victory, gets a 63. And then the post-match celebration with Amazing Red gets a 67. God damn it, I hate the fact that I didn't get to see what actually happened there. Well, I can go back after the actual show and see what happened. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, any Rey Mysterio match, basically, as we were feuding with Kevin Nash, only hopefully better, because hopefully we're better than WCW 1998 is what happened here. Anyway, then we go backstage with a promo from Matt Sydal, which gets a 64, where he says, basically he's the only junior heavyweight champion to ever get a shot at the MLW World Title, which shows just how great he is. and along with his main squeeze here, as he, hugs on Val and makes out with her. If Nigel and Guinness thinks he's going to get the drop on him in the King of Kings tournament, he's got everything coming because he's going to win the tournament. And it doesn't matter who he faces, whether it's that Perfectly Amazing Red or Morishima, he will become the MLW World Heavyweight Champion. 64, solid stuff. Shows there is no honor among thieves. And a decent match, Hero and Strong defeat Stampede Bulldogs in 840 when Roderick Strong pins Hero Smith. This gets a 54. Decent, decent like babyface match, as down to the fact that MLW officials, haven't quite made the tag title match because they need Hero and Strong to look good enough, strong enough in an actual tag match. Since their last tag match, which I might be wrong about, but I'm pretty sure was, of course, their well, no, it wasn't their tag loss because they beat, but they need to see them against another actual regular tag team. Anyway, they get the win here, solid back and forth match with Hero and Strong, our former tag team champions, and Stampede Bulldogs are still two young kids, so this gets a 54. Strong gets a 45. Chris Hero gets a 58 because we're in the Northeast. TJ Wilson gets a 43. Harry Smith gets a 33. Solid stuff. As you move forward, Hero and Strong go to shake hands with the Bulldogs, but out of nowhere, feature attraction just wipe them out. Modest with oh, god damn it. This is just not my day. That should be Michael Shane, not Michael Modest. So just pretend that's Michael Shane. Anyway, Michael Shane really and Gerald Clark come out. Clark wipes him out with a big dive. Shane hits a huge super kick to knock him down, and then they celebrate with their titles and point to him. So after the match, as we come back from commercial, it's officially announced that at King of Kings, it will be a tag title match. Of Hero and Strong versus the featured attraction. Global Tag Team crowds on the line. Then we go to our main event as part of the, as part of the as part of the King of Kings tournament, in a superb match, Averno featuring Fatu and 10 by pinfall with the Devil's Wings, which I don't think I can get Fatu up, but let's just pretend he can. So again, back and forth match. Fatu is kind of dominant because he's the bigger man, but in a babyface way where he just throws around Averno, but Averno, eventually cheats to win, hits a few drop kicks to the knees, basically, is able to hit a few hot moves, hit the Devil's Wings, put his feet on the ropes, and get the pinfall victory over Fatu in a huge win as he moves on to the finals, and Fatu is eliminated. This gets a 70, so one of our better matches ever. As Fatu gets a 52, Averno, because he's real good, gets 67, and then post-match, Averno celebrates to a 54. So overall, we get a 61, really good show. And again, it's really dumb that I made two dumb mistakes. Well, actually, three dumb mistakes on the show. Shows what happens when you start booking again after a couple of days of not booking. Anyway, I'll be back with this in just a moment for the second show of the taping. Okay, it's now time for the second show of the taping, as we start out with basically, Kevin Kelly and Steve Corino putting over the big main event of Mike Seidel taking on Nigel and Guinness. Corino makes a crack about how, he doesn't like Nigel, but, Seidel sort of, that's assuming, by implying last week he could actually beat Morishima, and Corino says something like, keep making out with your girlfriend, kid, don't mess with the Horsemen. 55, solid little opening thing to put over the main event as we go to our opening match, which is a decent match. Akira Tozawa, Dragon Kid, and Incognito defeating Delirious, Jason Cross, and Puma in 9:37 when Tozawa pins Jason Cross. This gets a 50. Incognito gets a 34, Dragon Kid gets a 42, Tozawa gets a 42, Puma gets a 36, Jason Cross gets a 53, Delirious gets a 56. Good stuff here, just a back and forth, high-flying match. And in the end, Tozawa gets the big win as he, continues his quest to challenge for the junior heavyweight title that's already been announced. And post-match, Tozawa and Delirious face off for a moment as Delirious holds his title up before walking away, which gets a 47. So again, fairly straightforward thing. Just to put over the fact, that, Delirious is a champion. He's accepted Tozawa's challenge, and they're facing off at King of Kings. Then we move forward. We have Nigel and Guinness promo where, Seidel says, Seidel, you're already looking ahead of me, but you got to worry about one thing. I've whooped your ass before, and yes, you've gotten lucky and defeated me thanks to your Jezebel of a woman. So, you want to bring your bird out as advantage? Well, I'm not afraid of knocking her head about too if she gets in our way. Because this is the Major League Professional Wrestling, and I want to rise to the top one way or the other. Solid babyface promo, 57, good stuff. Again, as we move forward to the next part of the show, as basically, Pop as the ICB come out, and they immediately get in a brawl with their opponents for the night. As about that decent for the crowd, but subpar wrestling, I mean, look at the people in this ring. Violent J and Shaggy Dudope of the Insane Clown Posse defeated Lightbringer and Joker in 6:07. When Shaggy Dudope pinned Joker with the diving leg drop, this gets a 42. Shaggy gets a 32, Violent J gets a 38, Joker gets a 41, Lightbringer gets a 43. And then in the post-match angle, we have Violent J, Shaggy Dudope celebrating, Reeves, Veteran, Ray Gordy come in, and it looks like they've got a 3-2 advantage. But out of nowhere, somebody comes in from the basically ringside area and start just like taking out both Gordy and Vetter with big like Ezekiel type kicks, and even like wallops Vetter Reeves a few times with huge hard strikes, which knocks him back. Dynamite Daises fall back, and then Violent J takes the mic and says, "You thought we didn't have any backup?" Bleeps, lots of bleeps, as they put over fact, this is Ezekiel. He's right out of prison, and he's ready to whoop some ass, and he's a fan of ICP, so he came to them and said he'd back them up here in MLW, and so at King of Kings is going to be a 3-way match, not a 3-way match, a 6-man match rather, of Ezekiel, who is, MVP, or is the future MVP, Shaggy Dudope, and Violent J, taking on Reeves, Vetter, and Ray Gordy. Fun stuff. And yeah, Ezekiel's one-man crime scene gimmick got initial rating of great. So, but lost her momentum more than usual, which is, what can you do? Anyway, this gets a 45, good stuff. And then we go backstage, where we have an Extreme Horsemen promo backstage, where basically, they put over the fact they're the elite force in professional wrestling still. And, Amazing, put over the fact, Amazing Red beat Samuel last week, and they all do a little golf clap, and you remember that Morishima is not some old Samoan who's been beaten for the past 20 years. Morishima is the hottest young wrestler in Japan, and he's come here to America to destroy and wreck shop one way or the other. And if you think you can get lucky to defeat him, take the title off him, Amazing Red, you should just quit. Walk away. Admit you don't have a chance. Well, you still can. 57, solid promo. Then we have a quick Sanjay Dutt promo basically over the Dutt Homicide match next week, and basically saying Dutt Homicide can prove this is all respect all he wants, but at the end of the day Homicide is just an ass who thinks he deserves stuff. He wants to take things that he doesn't deserve, and Dutt is ready to defeat Homicide, move on to the King of Kings, and earn a shot at the heavyweight championship. 44 in promo, but what can you do? And then you have the main event of the show, as an match which gets a 61, which, is not as good as that is as it could be, but this is mainly because both these guys don't click, but still 61s, even though they don't click, it's not bad at all. As a superb match, Mike Sydal defeats Nigel and Guinness in 2016 by pinfall. It says after Val interfered. Basically what happens is Val does, get involved and distract, but Nigel basically scares her away, but that's enough for Sydal to hit, some sort of cutter, hit a big top rope shooting star press, and put his foot on the ropes to get the 1, 2, 3. As this gets a 61, Nigel gets a 56, Sydal gets a 58, again mostly because they don't click. And post-match, Sydal and Val celebrate to a 69, nice. And this show overall gets us a 55. So again, good stuff. As we move forward towards King of Kings, we'll see if there's any interesting news, and then I'll be back with the second set of tapings in just a moment. But let's just first see this. Survey says, hey, Kurt Angle has lots of interest. Let's see, any email. Dream Fat 2 thinks, yes, it's Skip Sheffield. It's right back. What can you expect? But okay, I'll be back with the next set of tapings in just a moment, at least for you. Okay, now it's time for the second set of tapings and the final set of tapings before MLW King of Kings, as it's time for Underground, as we're live from, Yeah, Tampa, Florida this time around as we're back in the Southeast. We were up in the Tri-State last time, and now we're back in the Southeast as we're headed towards King of Kings, as we start with Homicide basically calling out Sanjay Dutt for their King of Kings tournament match now. And this isn't all because I'm not sure about them actually having a great match together. Not at all. This is just totally a Angle that takes total sense of Angle calling out Dutt to get his respect now. Anyway, this gets a 49 as we move forward to the actual match, which gets a 57. So, I mean, actually not that bad, but not quite like, I want at least 60s for main events, I think, at this point. But anyway, not the end of the world or anything. Anyway, and about that great heat and good wrestling, Sanjay Dutt defeated Homicide in 950 by pinfall with a Bombay Splash. So this is just a fight, probably chair shots when he goes through a table, fun stuff. This gets a 57, Homicide gets a 53, Sanjay Dutt gets a 53, and Dutt advances into the finals at King of Kings. And then Dutt celebrates to a 54. Then we come back commercial. Well, no, first we go back and there's a featured attraction promo with Gerald Clark and Michael Shane, putting on the fact that at King of Kings, they're going to stake the claim that they are the greatest tag team in professional wrestling today by defeating Hero and Strong once again, and showing those fools that they're the featured attraction in professional wrestling, and they're nothing but two boring punks. Solid promo, yeah, and Shane puts over, are you the nephew of the greatest wrestler of all time? I don't think so. I'm going to prove why this greatness runs in my veins. Well, you're just two posers. 48, solid promo as we move forward to a quick low-key promo where it was the fact, he's facing Simon Diamond in a six-man tonight with Hero and Strong. But more importantly, if he wins against Diamond next week and he wins the match at King of Kings, he will get his rematch against Morishima, and there will be a great war. But as a great war, I will walk out victorious. Loki, decent promo, 66. Then we have ICP introing Ezekiel as the baddest mofo in this company. He's coming right out of the cell block to whoop your ass, and he's on our side. 51 against all promo as Ezekiel makes his actual in-ring debut as he defeats Matt Martel into 54 by pinfall with a basically rolling elbow. This gets a 31. Ezekiel gets a 48. Matt Martel gets a 28. And yeah, just a quick squash win for Ezekiel, as then ICP celebrates with him to get a 51, and as we move forward. Just, again, quick squash win to, hey, he actually is a wrestler, not just a random bodyguard. And then we have in a decent match, Delirious defeating Incognito in 755 by pinfall with a chemical imbalance, which I'm sure is some wacky move. This gets a 48. Incognito gets a 36. Delirious gets a 56. Solid non-title win for the Junior Heavyweight Champion. Then Delirious, does his incoherent promo stuff. Well, Daisy translate for him and says, Akira Tozawa, you have a lot of talent, but I'm the Junior Heavyweight Champion for a reason. And at King of Kings, I will remain the champion because I'm the best junior heavyweight wrestler on the planet. 42, not the best promo, but what can you do? And then we move forward to our main event, as this has been a fairly quick show to get through. I mean, basically this is a basic build show. As it both had great heat and good wrestling, the Extreme Horsemen of Simon Diamond, just incredible, and Takeishi Morishima. It's always funny that I always, it's hilarious. This is our Extreme Horsemen with Green at the moment. Defeated Low-Key and Hero and Strong in 15-12, and Simon Diamond pinned Low-Key with the Simon series after. So basically, the end of this, this is your back and forth match. Of course, Hero and Strong have had their own problems with Morishima before. But again, back and forth, fighting. But in the end, what happens is it's a six-way brawl. Michael Shane comes down, swings in, hits Hero with a super kick. That gets Low-Key to go after him. That allows Diamond to come in and knock him from behind, hit a low blow, hit the Simon series, and get the pinfall after Low-Key to get the big one. This gets a 56, which, again, that means that, so I was hosted by my own petard by being worried about the main event, but what can you do? Strong gets a 53, Hero gets a 54, Low-Key gets a 59, Morishima gets a 60, Credible gets a 42, Diamond gets a 55, and then post-match, the heels celebrate, including featured attraction as the show ends, as the youngsters put over. This was a big victory as we were rolling into King of Kings. As show itself got a 52, so not our best show ever, but I sort of figured that because I sort of with the Ezekiel match and sort of lots of mid card stuff in the middle of the show with only and even credible Hero and Strong are not main event guys. They're credible a mid card guy at this point, and Hero and Strong are upper mid card. So that was probably the other problem. But you live and learn. I'll be back in just a second with the second half of the taping. Okay, and we start the go home show for King of Kings with an in-ring from the Amazing Red. Wow, I really can talk, I swear. Anyway, Red basically puts over the fact, that, yes, he knows he's the damn underdog, but it's not about the size of the dog, it's about the size of the fight in the dog, and this dog right here is ready to do anything and walk out beaten, battered, and broken if it means he can be the world heavyweight champion after King of Kings. So, he sends a message to Morishima, watch this match I'm going to have against a guy even bigger than you to show that the bigger they are, the harder they fall, Morishima. And yes, you're a great wrestler, but I have the heart and fire to take you down at King of Kings. 51, decent promo. I mean, Red is not the best promo in the world, but what can you do? As we move forward, in a good match, the Amazing Red defeats Iceberg in 7:38 by pinfall. The Red Star Press. This gets a 61. The Amazing Red gets a 69. Nice. Iceberg gets a 41. Back and forth match. Get just Iceberg tossing Red around, but Red fighting back. Eventually, Red hitting basically like his infrared, some version of the Spanish Fly. Well, some wacky version of the Spanish Fly, DDT, and then hitting the Red Star Press to get the pinfall victory over Iceberg in 7:38. And yeah, naturally put over, Iceberg is a former King of Hardcore winner here in MLW, but, there you go. Now he's basically just jumped to the stars because, and the thing is, again, go watch some NWA Wildside because Iceberg, that whole Southern promotion is really great. Anyway, random plug, but anyway, we're moving forward. So Amazing Red is getting up to celebrate. Went out of nowhere. And, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that, for the whole start of the show, Steve Carino is not on the, on the announcing table, and Kelly is confused why he's not there. Anyway, out come the whole Extreme Horsemen, including Carino, and it's just a total beatdown. And Carino's yelling, "You think you're special? You think you're an underdog? No, you're just fresh meat for this man to destroy." And Morishima just hits a huge power bomb on Red and is about to pull him up with the backdrop driver when Low Ki runs in with a chair to chase the Extreme Horseman off as Kevin Kelly puts over the fact that it's going to be Low Ki versus Simon Diamond in the final King of Kings qualifier later tonight, as this gets a 64. Then we have a very wacky segment, which gets a 48. So basically, it's Dynamite Daises visiting Detroit. Now, most of this is just them in front of obvious green screen, super obvious even to, a really, to, let's say a wrestling fan, and they're just, pointing out how broken down, how terrible, how crime-ridden, if we can get, somebody random, to sort of walk by them as a homeless person, quote-unquote, for them to sort of rouse them, and finally, they're inside a Detroit nightclub, and, it turns out, oh no, actually, everybody hates, and again, we look at some random, acting students from a nearby Tampa, school or whatever to basically, be the various people at this quote-unquote nightclub report the fact, no, we hate ICP. ICPs are posers. They're suburban losers, but we heard of, a great band like you, I don't like country much, but, you guys are the real thing, and basically putting over, even in Detroit, people love Dynamite Daises and think ICP are punks. Again, this is a quasi-comedy segment because, part of the goofiness is, of course, it's obviously not Detroit, and everybody knows it's not Detroit except Dynamite Daises. Well, even they know, but they're putting up the front, just to sort of piss off ICP even more. So there we go, 48, solid stuff. And again, if you don't know why I don't do much comedy in my booking, there you go. Because that's the great ideas I have. Anyway, in a bout that great heat and good wrestling, Roderick Strong draws with Michael Shane in 10:22, following a double countout, as this gets a 64, as again, just a solid, putting more heat on the tag title match at King of Kings, as it's back and forth, wild stuff, Strong hitting his back raiders, Shane hitting his high flying and even super kick, but eventually goes to the outside, as a double countout, as this gets a 64. Strong gets a 57, Shane gets a 58, as again, this gets a 64, good stuff. And then out of nowhere, it's just a complete brawl as both the other members of the teams, and they brawl to the back before MLW officials can break them apart, as Kevin Kelly puts over, the big tag title match at King of Kings, as this gets a 48. Then we go backstage where Nigel's backstage, and Homicide approaches him and says, "Ha!" And basically, makes fun of him for, putting over how he's the future of the company when he's not going to be in the King of Kings match, and Nigel's like, "Bloody hell, you're not to have a match either." Well, and we never liked each other, so let's do this one more time. Let's hook him up. Homicide "Oh, I'm up for kicking your ass again." And they go head to head, and it's basically announced, afterwards that it is official. A King of Kings in a special singles challenge match is going to be Homicide versus Nigel and Guinness. And there we go. Good stuff. And yeah, this gets a 63 just because it's these two facing off. Of course, Homicide being the angry, bitter heel, and Nigel being the fighting babyface who just wants a match at King of Kings. And just to better, it's his former feuding partner because they did feud a bit during summer and spring. And then we have basically quick hype promos for the King of Kings match. We have Verno basically speaking Spanish. This translated that he is the greatest luchador in professional wrestling today, and he will prove it at King of Kings. Matt Sydal with 5 on the firm saying, I'm simply the best, and I'll prove it. And then Sanjay Dutt says, I'm ready to move up to the next level, and that's going to happen at King of Kings, whoever else is in the match. 52, as these are just quick 1-minute promos to put over the King of Kings match. And then, in our main event, and about that great heat and good wrestling, Low-Ki defeats Simon Diamond in 15-20 by pinfall with Key Crusher 99. This gets a 64. Low-Ki gets a 59. Simon Diamond gets a 55. Good back and forth match, but Low-Ki gets the big win and advances. And that means at King of Kings, it is going to be a 4-on-4 match. A 4-on-4 Iron Man match between Low-Ki. Where are ya? Matt Sydal, Sanjay Dutt, and last but not least, Averno. Oh, for crying out loud. I'll fix it in post. There we go. Okay. And then we finish the show out to a 58, and good stuff. So yeah, and I'll just go over the whole King of Kings lineup here in just a moment. As I think what we'll do is we'll actually we'll go through and book the King of Kings Smash show, and then we'll basically end the year. But we'll do the end year stuff in a separate video because I sort of have some big news for start of the year as it pertains to this save. But we go through here. And yeah, okay, yep, nothing that special. But yeah, to go over the full show, at least as, so far. So sort of a very focused show. Obviously, having on time left, there'll be some additional matches thrown on here. But a very focused show overall. As in the main event, we've got Morishima versus Amazing Red for the heavyweight title. Homicide versus Nigel in sort of a, refresh of their feud. In a 4-way Iron Man match to determine the King of Kings. It's Inferno versus Dutt versus Sydal versus Low-Ki. Delirious versus Tozawa for the junior heavyweight title. In a huge 6-man battle, it's ICP and their new buddy Ezekiel versus Dynamite Daises. And for the tag titles, Hero and Strong versus Featured Attraction. Of course, that won't be all the matches, but that's all the matches officially pre-booked. But I'll be back with King of Kings in just a moment. And now focus time for the final show of the year. It's MLW King of Kings 2005, live from the Miami Beach Civic Center, where we got nearly a sellout with almost 5,000 people in here. As we have a freestyle segment starting off where Kelly and Carino go over the show, where basically, Carino says, Morishima is going to wreck Amazing Red. Kevin Kelly puts over all the competitors in the King of Kings match, and they basically put over the whole show, which gets a 61. Then we go to our opening match, which is the junior heavyweight title match. As a name about that good heat and decent wrestling, Delirious defeated Akira Tozawa in 13:32 by pinfall with a panic attack. Delirious makes defense number 2 of his World Junior Heavyweight title. This gets a 52. Solid stuff. Delirious gets a 56. Akira Tozawa gets a 40. Solid match. Tozawa just isn't over enough quite for me to put him over Delirious. But he'll be a solid part of the roster, and Delirious gets the big win. In post-match, Delirious and Tozawa shake hands, along with Daisy Hayes, as this gets a 46. And then we move on to our next match on the show, which is our wacky 6-man brawl. As in a decent match, Dynamite Daises of Reeves, Vetter, and Ray Gordy defeats Ezekiel, Shaggy 2-Dope, and Violent J in a streak fight match, which is basically just a tag tornado match that goes all over. When Reeves pins Shaggy 2-Dope with a charging lariat, this gets a 50. Violent J gets a 39. Shaggy 2-Dope gets a 35. Ezekiel gets a 50. Ray Gordy gets a 56. Vetter gets a 53. And Reeves gets a 30. So just a total brawl. Basically, ICP are there to basically bump for Reeves a lot, and sort of Vetter and Gordy are here to go over and look strong, but also to bump a little bit for Ezekiel. But again, Vetter gets the Dynamite Daises get the big win as this gets a 50, and then post match the Dynamite Daises celebrate to a 50. So I think they're solid mid carders now after I pushed them, and again, the weirdness with the tag title will short itself shortly, but I still have a little bit to do to here. Anyway, 50 solid win for Dynamite Daises as they celebrate. Moving forward to a 4-way tag match. As in a decent match, the Same People Bulldogs of Harry Smith and DJ Wilson get the big win, defeating Incognito and Dragon Kid, the Phantom Pitbulls, and the S18-1029, when Harry Smith pins Incognito with a springboard heart attack. This gets a 46, just a wild high-flying match all over. Dragon Kid gets a 42, Incognito gets a 34, TJ Wilson gets a 42, Harry Smith gets a 34, Reyes gets a 42, Romero gets a 37, Joel Maximo gets a 48, and Jose gets a 49, and a good strong win for the Stampede Bulldogs as they celebrate afterwards to a 35. And again, part of the 2006 is actually going to be pushing the Bulldogs and the Restart Foundation as actually mid-card, which some changes will help with that as well to get some more TV time. And then Simon Diamond has an in-ring. Simon says he wants a match tonight, doesn't care who he faces. All the Extreme Horsemen deserve the rule. And out comes Junior Fatu, and the brawl is on. So this gets a 53. And yeah, this is just a way to get two guys who are really over on the show. And a good bout that great heat and decent wrestling. Simon Diamond defeats Junior Fatu in 9:42 by pinfall with Simonizer. This gets a 51 because they don't click, and I knew that from before, but these were the two available guys. So Diamond gets a 49, Fatu gets a 47. At least Diamond gets a strong win on a big show. And post-match, Diamond celebrates to a 55. Fun stuff. And then in a superb match, Nigel and Guinness gets the big win over Homicide in 15:30 by pinfall. This gets a 66, which is going to be one of the better matches on the show. Homicide gets a 53, Nigel gets a 64, but just, solid, strong style, back and forth, battling match. But in the end, Nigel's just a little bit better, hits the, big rebound lariat a couple times. It gets a huge pinfall victory to get the big singles win, and then Nigel celebrates to a 72. And yeah, he's probably one of our top guys at this point, along with Low-Ki and everybody else. And then in a superb match, Feature Attraction retained the tag titles, defeating Hero and Strong in 14:45 when Michael Shane pins Chris Hero with the Sweet Shane music. This gets a 63. It says the super kick, but whatever it is, Shane hits a super kick, Clark hits a 630, then Shane goes up top, hits his elbow drop, they get the pinfall victory. 63, really good match. Strong gets a 56, Hero gets a 54, Joe Clark gets a 59, Shane gets a 60. Then the heels are celebrating, babyfaces are in the ring, went out of nowhere, kick, wham, huge backbreaker by Strong on Hero. And then he walks away. And the crowd is shocked as just out of nowhere, Roderick Strong turned on his long-time partner, Chris Hero. So, turn him heel. He also has a backraider badass as a gimmick. And again, so Strong is now heel. Basically, Strong Hero didn't have much to do anymore. They were sort of stuck behind guys like Low-Ki and they were so obviously the top babyface team that there's no reason for other babyfaces to chase after the heels. So this will give the other babyfaces something to do to actually chase after the tag titles and give Strong Hero something a little more to do. And then in our huge four-way Iron Man match, which goes 30 minutes, Low-Ki defeats Sanjay Dutt, Matt Sydal, and Inferno in a Iron Man match. After scoring the most falls, Low-Ki wins the King of Kings. This gets a 66. So how I imagine this going is basically just like the sort of, I think the ROH match basically went, I think one version of it went, but basically it was one fall late. Everybody has gotten a pinfall, and so everybody's breaking each other up. But basically with about 2 minutes left, Dutt dies on Sydal on the outside, but they both basically go out into the crowd. Low-Ki goes up top, hits the key crusher on Inferno, gets the 1, 2, 3, and then basically Low-Ki just has to fight off all three men who are going after him to try to get the pinfall and knock things in overtime. But eventually the other three start fighting because, of course, only one of them can get into an overtime. And the bell rings as Low-Ki stands tall as the winner of the King of Kings. Inferno gets a 68. Dutt gets a 63. Sydal gets a 65. Low-Ki gets a 63 as well. Overall, the match gets a 66. And Low-Ki celebrates afterward to a 65. Now, then it's time for the main event, our World Heavyweight title match. And you can sort of know how this is going. Amazing Red fights, and he's really good. But in the end, Morishima, basically, this is honestly, look at it in any Brock Lesnar match versus a smaller guy, where he hits his moves, he gets it, but in the end, Morishima is just too much. He catches him, backdrop driver, lariat, pinfall, retains the title. And a 67, which is actually better than I thought it would be, Morishima defeats Amazing Red in 12:51 by pinfall with a lariat. Morishima makes defense number 1 of his World Heavyweight title. Morishima gets a 56, Amazing Red gets a 63, 67 overall. And then it's time for another beatdown, but this time Low-Ki, Hero, and then Nigel all come run down to make the save as a standoff between the babyfaces and the Extreme Horsemen end the show. As this gets a 63, and overall the show itself gets a 61. So we'll make our speech. So it'll be to, honestly, we'll give it to Homicide because he had a shockingly good performance. We'll give it to Amazing Red because he had a really good performance, and just because he was. And then Averno. So I'm going to leave it here because the actual end of the year stuff plus going into the new year is going to be a separate video, as I basically go over the whole roster, see where we are, and then we'll basically go from there. So this is it for now. So if you enjoyed this, go give it a like, comment below what you're enjoying and not enjoying, and subscribe to the channel for lots of TEW 2020 content, including this series, my WCW 2004 series, now out of Super Brawl and heading towards Wrestle War, and my WCW 1994 series heading towards Spring Brand T 1994 with Rick Rude versus Cactus Jack, and my WWE 2013 series with random number generated goals, now leaving Extreme Rules with the Randy Orton heel turn. But that's it for now, so I talk to you later, and adios.